Hi, it's the Brights coming to you live from our
studio.
TV studio. Just don't say studio audience because there's no
studio
people.
Kitchen. That's what I was going to say.
Okay, so I'm going to tag friends. So I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to try to see if I can do the Brights. So hang on. See if I can do it. Brights. It's not going to let me. Okay, so never mind.
What are you doing?
We should have done this one like 5 minutes ago. Because we're going to start doing our videos.
You're shaking us. The camera's
We're going to start doing our videos before we actually...
Golly, I need some makeup on my forehead, man. It's just like wah, wah, wah.
You should listen to me.
It's just shining.
So we're going to start doing our Facebook Lives right before they actually go live, just so you can see what it's like trying to set this up.
The stress level is like, you can't even see how high my hand is right now. It's way up here.
And especially for people who are opposites. So we had a lot of great feedback.
Chica says she wants to be on TV too.
Yeah,
hello.
So okay.
Hi, Chica.
That's our only audience member. Okay, so last week we did personality types, and we had a lot of great feedback from it. We got a lot of personal messages, we had a lot of comments, and there's a few things that we forgot about on the personality types that we wanted to talk about. One was that personality types, it was real basic that we were talking about. As we've gone through years of going to marriage classes and learning about marriage stuff, we actually do our strength finder now, which is the Gallup strength finder, and maybe we'll do a video about that one Sunday. But once you get a little more in depth, you can do stuff like the strength finder, right? Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about the 5 love languages, and how many of you guys out there know what your love language is? So
sex.
No, that's not one of them.
It's not?
No, it's not one of them.
I'm teasing. I know better than that because I've been going to class long enough.
That's right. So Richard and I heard a lot, and I'm trying not to say and so.
And so.
And so. Because I don't say as much, I say and so. And so.
And I say man. That's my old surfer days, man.
So we're going to, there I go. So, oh my gosh. So, love languages. Richard and I were looking at listening and looking at the comments and listening to our very first video where we talked about the different, like what you guys were interested in. You guys were giving us feedback, and there's a lot of really good topics, and we want to do those as we go along. But we realized that when we first started out going to marriage classes and learning about marriage, that was 14 years ago, and we couldn't even receive any of the stuff we were hearing because some of it was so deep, and we didn't know how to forgive. We were so busy.
We were in a bad place. We were in such a broken place.
So much strife. And we had a lot of personality clash, we didn't know our love language. We didn't know these basics. So that's why we thought we would kind of start out with the basics, and then it will help you as you guys get a little bit better where you can stand each other. Maybe some of y'all might be in a really bad place where you're like, I don't even want to hear them breathe. Some of you might be in a great season, and this is just a refresher to learn about, to remind you about your love language and your spouse's love language. But it's really good to be able to get back to the basics, right?
I remember sitting in the class, and when they were talking about love language, I was really clueless, and I even thought, how great. What are they, love language? Who needs to know this? But as I started to break down each love language, and I saw mine, and then I saw Sherry's, it was like light bulbs went off. It was like one of those aha moments, like, wow, I understand, I get it. And it was just it was kind of neat, because we were able to go and talk about it afterwards.
Well, yeah, but it took how many years, but we didn't even know what our love language. So what we learned was that a lot of times you'll be doing what your love language is. You may be showing love to your spouse or to your partner based on what your love language is. So I was always waiting on Richard because my love language is acts of service. So I like when people help me do things, when we accomplish things. So I was constantly waiting on him.
That's one of the 5 love languages, acts of service.
Yeah, so I would wait on him. I should have known. The very first time, I think that one of the first weekend date we ever had, I brought him I went and made him a huge plate of food. And I just thought it was so great. And he was like, thanks. But to me, it was like...
Inside, I was all like, yeah, this is cool. She made me a huge plate of food,
But you didn't know that it was... I was constantly trying to get him, my love language, put it on him. I was always waiting on him, fixing things, trying to do stuff for him. I thought he would be so excited when he came home, and I would do all the list of things, go to the cleaners for him, and I cleaned his bathroom or cleaned his sink and hung up his clothes, and he couldn't care less.
I'm like, oh, great, yeah, looks good. You know, appreciate it.
Couldn't have cared less. And so Richard would always want me to come and sit by him and hold his hand and like constantly. I was like, we have things to do. Like, how can you be doing this? Because his love language, number one, is physical touch. So you can take and it's another quiz that y'all get to do. If you go online to The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, Dr. Gary Chapman, it's been on the bestseller list for
25
plus years. And
there has to be something about it.
Something about it, yeah. And so we learn what our love language is. We actually retake it about maybe every couple of years just to kind of see. And we've noticed there have been seasons in our marriage that our love language has kind of changed based on what was happening in our life, whether the kids were, little and they were at home. And I was like, there was a time that I think physical touch actually jumped up a couple of notches for me because we were so busy with the kids and doing things that we weren't always giving each other a hug or a holding my hand or whatever, because we were just focused on other things. But now ours is kind of back to what our original love language is. So you usually have 2 primary love languages. My number 1 is acts of service. My second is quality time. Richard's is physical touch
and quality time.
So 5 love languages.
Let's start off with gifts. Which
I don't understand. I'm just going to put this out here. I do not understand that gifts is a love language. Okay, I know it is for some people, but I do not get it.
Gifts is a way that a person we're not talking about materialism. They're not about materialism. When you give a gift, you're going out of your way. You're being thoughtful. You're doing something that they see as appreciation. It's like, wow, you thought about me, so you went and got that, and that's their way of
they feel loved.
They feel loved by getting gifts. And I saw my mom and dad,
yes.
That's what my dad did to my mom all the time, and hers was gifts, and I didn't know that. I just thought, man, the way to a woman's heart is gifts. Just give
buy
gifts.
her stuff.
Give gifts. Just buy them stuff, whether they need it or not.
Yeah, if you're in the doghouse, if you're in a happy place, it doesn't matter, buy them gifts.
Yeah.
Well, my number 5 is gifts, so we were missing the mark all the time. And I wouldn't understand why he was trying to buy my love. That's how I felt. And his mom, my mother-in-law's name was Palmira Delilah de los Santos, okay? And so she would get, I don't know, I could have gone to her and given her an old Kleenex and said, Richard had a tear and he wiped his eyes with this. And she'd have been like, oh my God, Mejito, I love it. I'll keep it forever. And she just stuffed it down into her bra and worn it forever. I don't get it, all right? But I know there's some people that they want to go get their nails done or they want go buy them stuff. Sometimes they like it if you do it as a surprise. Sometimes they want you to buy them something. Now, if you go buy me something that I know that I want, I've already told them, and you want to pay for it, I'm all about that. But as far as gifts, we have a thing about gifts. Remember, Richard used to buy me gifts all the time, and I would have to act like I liked them because I didn't. And one time I got a quilt purse, and I gave it to his mom because...
And when I first saw it, I thought, wow, I have good taste. My mom's got a purse just like the one I got Sherry.
I regifted it.
This is before I knew what regifting was.
So we learned, though, what works for us, because neither one of us, both of us, I think gifts is number 5, that if, like for me, I'll buy my own gift, I'll wrap it up, because Richard always like, well, I want you to be surprised. I'm like, oh, you will be. And so I wrap it up at Christmas or our birthday or whatever, and then I just go get what I want, wrap it up, I open it, we all are happy, I get what I want, and he's fine with it, and he doesn't have to go shopping.
I remember when I got you a gift.
When?
From Academy.
Oh, let's talk about the gifts. Go ahead.
Well, she told me, I thought, well, you know what? I was at Academy one day, and I was walking through, and I saw the swimsuit section, and I saw a camo bikini that was just standing out, and I thought she would look fabulous in that. So I got a camo bikini for her for, I don't know what it was. It was a special occasion for me, and I just gave it to her because I thought it was going to be America's Next Top Model. She was going to show this bad boy off. So I got all the cameras out and all the lights up, and I was ready for her to come out of the bathroom, and I hear her in there crying, and she's knocking stuff around. I'm like, what is the matter? Come, let me see that thing, girl.
And I was like, okay, A, do not buy my bikini from Academy, okay? I don't care if you can get your ammo and camo all at the same place and your bikini camo. It was camo.
It was a thought that counts.
And it was like 2 sizes too small. So I was so traumatized because I'm such a big girl and I'm tall and huge, and it was really little, and I just felt like he just thinks I'm petite and small, and I'm gonna come out in this thing and I'm gonna look horrible, and I was so mad, so I just wadded up and threw it at him.
Hit me right between the eyes
Yeah.
with it. You know?
He was angry about it. So we learned for us how, you know, the gifts is not our love language, but if it's your love language, make sure that you are communicating that to your spouse or to your partner, and let them know what that looks like, because they have what they call different dialects. So if you like gifts, so like let's say you want him to go buy you something and surprise you because you want him to put thought into it, or maybe it's you want him to take you out to a romantic dinner and you want him to think it out or to plan it out.
Because if gifts is your love language and somebody gives you a meaningless gift or a thoughtless gift, then it's very hurtful to that person, because that's how they receive love, and that was just like an empty type of love.
Well, if you communicate with that person about the gift, what that looks like. So for some people, it might be a diamond bracelet, and for someone, it might be picking a flower out of the neighbor's yard, and just the thought of that you thought about it as you were walking in the house.
Well, that's stealing, isn't it?
That's stealing. We had that message today at church, didn't we?
Yeah.
So pick it out of your own yard. Or somebody's yard. Go to a, what do they call it?
I don't know.
Graveyard.
Don't go stealing flowers for your...
Just talk to them and find out what their love language, what that looks like if it's gifts. So the number 2, these aren't in any particular order, but another one is acts of service, which is...
Which is Sherry's, yeah. Whenever you say acts of service, you have to go...
Okay, we do a comedy routine when we go to churches and do a comedy routine, and one of the things we talk about is our love languages, and I usually say it's called chore play at our house.
And that does work. I mean, believe it. When I'm vacuuming and cleaning, man, I can't keep her off of me. And she's just
not
like...
while you're doing it. Not while you're vacuuming.
Well, no, but I mean, you come up and you're all like, oh, baby, you're vacuuming. Oh, you're doing the dish. Oh, did you clean the windowsills? You folded the laundry for me?
I get so
and
excited.
she just gets so excited. But you know what? It took time for us to get there. And, you know, we would hear love language, acts of service, acts of service, acts of service. But after 15 years of being together, you know, I want my wife to have an easy life. I don't want her to be doing all the dishes all the time and all the cleaning all the time. And, you know, I want to help her. I want to take some of that off of her plate. I always didn't want to do that, you know. So I know it's a process and it takes time. And it's an everyday intentional thing. It just doesn't happen whenever we feel like happening. Like, oh, you know what, I'll do some acts of service today. I come home every day and I look to see what can I help my wife with. You know, the other day I came home and I can tell that she had done a lot, but man, the dishes needed to still be put up, dinner needed to be made, and she was still trying to tie in, finish up the business. She was still working, so man, I came in and made dinner. I didn't even ask her what she wanted. I just made a real nice salad and some stuff that we could eat that wasn't, it was healthy, and I knew she would like that. And I just wanted to help her. I wanted her to see that, you know what, I want to carry this burden. This isn't just your burden to carry, it's our burden.
And I appreciate that. So now he tries to ease the burden. He knows acts of service is my love language, but it hasn't always been that way. We went through years of, it could be 10 o'clock at night, I could still be working in my office, and Richard be sitting here waiting for me to get dinner going. And... Anybody else?
We got to hurry up with dinner because we got to get to bed, girl. We got to get to bed.
I ain't going to have none of that going on if you're not going to do my acts of service. So Richard would tell me, honey, I'll take a bullet for you. You know, I'll jump in front of a moving truck, and all I need you to do is empty the dishwasher, and it's on me and you, you know. So, can't help it. So, what's the other?
So acts of service. So let's talk about when we're doing acts of service. It's and we don't do the acts of service. Say mine is an act of service, so that is unnatural to me. Anything that's not my love language is unnatural. Gifts is unnatural. Acts of service is unnatural. Words of affirmation, that's unnatural because it's not part of my nature. So when I have to be intentional every day to do acts of service for my wife, all right, because we're in this together. It's not her marriage, it's our marriage, okay?
So you have to make a choice, kind of like love. Love is a choice. Some people tell us, oh, I'm not in love with my spouse anymore. I think I've fallen out of love. I don't know. how to break this to you, but love is a decision. It's a decision that you have to get up every day and say, I'm going to love this person regardless of what they've done, if they're speaking my love language, whether they deserve it or not. When we got to that point, because our love at first was a roller coaster. I based love with Richard
and we would throw the divorce word around. This might not be working out. You know, there was always just in case this marriage doesn't work, we wanted a way out. And I saw that Mary Banks was on earlier. One of the best things that we got in her classes, we heard her and Melvin teaching one time, and they said, hey, we said to each other, in this marriage, there are no doors and windows. We will work through everything that comes our way. And when I heard that, you know, there were so many great pearls of wisdom that came from Mary and Melvin Banks. But when they said that, that was just something that just resonated with me. And we said that. I said, you know what? I like that. There are no doors and windows in this marriage. And then when we
Only
take
body
divorce, yeah, so that's what she would say. Not divorce. She'd throw the D word, death. You know, like divorce. No, death. She's all like, no, if you leave, it's going to be in a body bag. And I'm like,
because they feel way sorry for you.
And I've seen her shoot, man. She has a tight pattern, man. I'm like, where did you learn to shoot? That's the first time you've ever shot. It sure is. I'm like, I'm not.
Oh, they feel way more sorry for you if you're a widow in church. Just saying. So, they wouldn't be all feeling sorry for me if I got divorced for a third time. So I had to do it. So what is it? Haha, body bag. Yeah, funny. Yeah,
Anthony,
you thought
Latisha,
about it.
hey, how are you guys doing?
Letty's feeling better. So we were talking about acts of service. So are you seeing? See here, I'm saying so again. I'm trying not to say
said,
so.
Hey, is that when you bolted the door? That's right. That's
no
right,
doors
Misty.
and windows. Yeah, is that when
she wasn't getting out, but man, she wasn't getting in either.
That's when Richard screwed the front door shut. What was I gonna say? I was talking about acts of service.
Yeah.
So find out. Are you doing your love language? I don't know if it's doing your love language, but are you showing your love to your spouse based on your own love language?
Yeah.
So I was trying to get Richard, I was constantly doing all these things for him, and he was just like, scoot out of the way. I want to watch the television. Why don't you come sit by me? I was like, how can I sit by you? I have all these things to do. I feel like Cinderella, and I always say before the ball.
And before she say before the ball, when she said, I feel like Cinderella, I was all like, oh, that makes me Prince Charming. Thank you, baby. And then she'd say, before the ball.
Yeah, or whatever we used to say about the easy bake oven and all that.
Oh, no. I would say, why are you so mad? I said, look at you, girl. I said, when you were little, you had the easy bake oven. Yeah. You had all the little cleaning utensils. You had all the stuff to make a house. You had all the little vacuum cleaner. And I said, man, look at you now, girl. You got the real stuff. Just living your dream, And that didn't go over very well.
All right, so we've got acts of service. We said gifts, acts of service. Another one is physical touch. That's actually a love language. And I know all the guys are like, hold on, let me do it. Yep, they're pulling up their britches. They're like, oh yeah, physical touch. That's my love language.
First off, why do you do that?
Because it's like men, they're like...
No. They're not thinking, oh yeah, my husband does that. They're thinking that's what Richard does.
Well,
so they're all thinking,
yep,
come on, girl. Time for some physical touch. And they just picture me with coveralls and no shirt and no shoes.
Well, when I first heard that, I didn't understand physical touch, like all touchy-feel. Like, it was like being married to a human octopus when I first met Richard. He was constantly touching me, constantly patting me on the back and patting me on the butt and all the time. And I was like, we have work to do. That's later. Like, you can't just be touching all the time. But I realized that he didn't really need me to constantly be touching him so much as he wanted me to hold his hand sometimes. He wanted me to sit by him on the couch and just, like rub his back. He loves for me to rub his back before we fall asleep. Those are the things that's his jam, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so
I feel when that's happening, man, my world is complete. I'm at peace. I mean, we're laying down, I'm like, baby, rub my back for a minute. I mean, 10 seconds and I'm like dead to the world. I'm asleep. I'm out, It's just, man, everything is perfect. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do physical touch to her all the time because it's my love language. It's not hers. So she's not receiving it, So it's like literally if you are doing your love language to your spouse and you're thinking, man, I am showing them so much love. I'm giving them everything. You're literally speaking a different language. You're speaking Spanish and they no comprehende. No hable. They don't understand. Yeah, that's Spanglish.
And you're half Hispanic. Okay.
That's Spanglish.
If you want to know what Spanglish is, let's just break here for a minute. So there's Spanglish, right? Y'all know Spanglish. That's when you have English and Spanish and you kind of mix it and you speak it. I have one because I'm a white girl, and mine is, and I'm married to a Hispanic. That is Spanglish. That's when you speak English, but you have a Spanish accent. Because I think people understand me better.
Yeah, that really works.
It's horrible. But I saw it on Oprah, and it said if you do that, that means you're more compassionate for people when you try to do their accent. So,
well, you are compassionate.
Yeah, okay.
So
physical touch. So talk to your spouse, and not just, physical touch. That means they just want sex all the time. It might not have anything, and I'm sure that's part of the physical touch, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always wanting to jump on it. They just need to be touched. There's a lot of women, I think, that
right. So even in physical touch, if your love language and your woman is physical touch, and there's neglect or abuse in that, then man, that is really damaging and crushing and destructive to that person, because that is just really their love language is just taking a major hit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So another one is words of affirmation. And that is I think we all like this stuff. I think all of these we like to some degree, but some of us this is just, like I said, our jam. So words of affirmation is actions speak louder than words. Our actions don't speak louder than words. Like for me, I'm an acts of service, so action speaks louder to me. He can talk all he wants, but I need to see results. People that have words of affirmation.
I was even told one time, your words mean nothing to me.
Wait, say it like I did it. Oh, no,
your words mean nothing to me.
Your words mean nothing.
Is my head going right? Or was it more like, your words mean nothing? It was neck bobbing. Your words mean, and the finger shaking. Yeah. Your words mean nothing to me.
Because we were in such a bad place, and so much had happened, and he was constantly coming and telling me he was sorry, and I was like, sorry doesn't cut it for me. I don't want to hear your words. I need to see action. But some people love to hear, they just need to hear the words, and they feel better. Like Ann and John, she just said, John's quality time and mine are words of affirmation. So I have him talk to me while he does the dishes. I love that.
So if you are words of affirmation, negative words or insults shatter and break you down, you know?
And so, see, I said it. I'm going to count how many times I said "and so." And
somebody else will do it for us.
Am I standing up straight? And you're like really straight.
No, it's hard because these things don't have backs on them. They're stools.
All right, so the actions don't speak louder than words. So that person needs compliments. They need to hear "I love you." They need to hear "good job." It might mean you need to text them throughout the day and just give them little, maybe little, I don't know, just little "I love yous" on your text message. Maybe you leave them a little note on their bathroom mirror or in their car.
Brent, what's up?
Hi. So you need to talk to your spouse. If words of affirmation is one of their primary love languages, what does that mean to them?
Right. So when you say "I love you," that's a beautiful statement, and that fills their tank. But man, when you go into why I love you and give an explanation without them asking, oh man, that is just going, man, that just sends them to a whole nother level.
And these are really good things, not just for your spouse, but these are great things just to know in life. Whenever I'm going to scoot down.
Sorry.
These are good to know with your kids. These are good to know with people you work with. I mean, when we lead people, when I find out like their love language is words of affirmation, I could be doing all these things for them, doing my acts of service, and they're just feeling like their tank is so empty because I haven't told them good job. So you have to remember that if they're words of affirmation, if it's now physical touch a little different, somebody you work with, but maybe just a little pat.
You mean physical touch?
Touch if you're just tuning in. That's hilarious.
You know what? Well, no, and that is so true, because even our children, just because we know what our spouse's love language is, our children have completely different love languages. Like our son is gifts, and our daughter is she has gifts as her number 2, isn't it? And then her number 1 is.
Well, it used to be acts of service. Now she says physical touch. So maybe hers is changing.
So Sherry could clean the room. Means nothing. Means nothing. That the room is clean. Great, room's clean, just to get messy again.
But if you gotta buy them a new pair of kicks, well, they're and these are grown. Whenever our kids were younger, if I took Hannah to get her nails done or to go shopping, Dylan would actually drill us, whatever the word is.
How much was it?
How much was it? How much did you spend?
Then I need that same amount.
I need that same amount. Like, go buy me something that costs equal amount, because to him it was gifts, and I thought he was just super
being
selfish.
greedy.
I just thought, wow, I can't
we got greedy kids.
I was like sneaking in the house. Don't show your brother. But I realized that as we found out what their love language is, as they got older, that really spoke volumes to him. That spoke love to him. Then we also have, what else?
Well, there's just things that happen in marriage. If you have a good relationship, let's just go there. If you have a good relationship, a good marriage, pretty decent, all right, and I do something negative, Well, it's going to take, in a good marriage, in a good relationship, it will take 5 random acts of kindness to negate that one negative thing that I did. And so just think about this on a daily basis. Just, I do something, I say something that makes my wife upset, then I literally have to do 5 things that are good,
Positive.
you know, that are positive. They're going to make a difference, that are going to negate that one negative. But in a bad marriage, in a marriage that we're struggling, in a marriage that there's conflict and turmoil and we don't see eye to eye and there's just strife and drama, for every negative, we have to have 15 acts of kindness in one day, And so we can just say, oh, I keep touching. But so you can see how far off course and how quick, you know, we can get off of our marriage and it being bad just, you know, in 2 days, you know. And so that's what we want to do, you know, and we want to reach as many people as possible. I said on the video last week, we want to reach 1 million people to help their marriage.
We want to help,
you know?
1 million people's marriages. I mean, that's just, I don't know, we won't stop at 1 million, but we know if you guys help us share these videos, talk to people, you know, a lot of people don't get to go, don't have marriage classes at their church. They don't have the great things, resources that we have. So we wanted to start bringing that to you guys because people, we talk to people a lot of times that don't live in Houston, can't come to our marriage class or one of the Liquid marriage classes. And so we just feel like, gosh, how can we get that same information? So as we go, we may even start maybe...
and the good news is we only need 999,500 more. All right, that's a dent,
So make
man.
sure you're sharing these videos. Please, that will help us a whole lot. Share these videos. If you haven't liked the Brights page, we have a page called The Brights. And so we want to eventually put those videos on The Brights, but most of y'all aren't even on there. So, they're all laughing. So, yeah. All right, well, we're back to this. So we have gifts. We talked about gifts. If you're just tuning in, acts of service. We talked about that. Physical touch, words of affirmation. And then now is quality time. So our number 2, both is quality time. And for us, it doesn't always mean that we just need FaceTime, you know, like not FaceTime like on FaceTime, but real face-to-face time. Sometimes for us, it's just being in the same room and hanging out. And then there's times where we just need to really talk and connect. That's why Richard and I think we love to go on trips. We love to go out of town with our ministry. We love to be able to do stuff because we get along and we actually like being together. So when we get quality time and we get to go, it's seriously our jam.
Yeah,
right?
And you know, and even quality time is, sometimes I need quality time by myself, not away from my wife, like, you know what, I need a vacation from you. Not like that, and not like I need to go off and be with the guys for 2 or 3 days. I need to just decompress. I need to go out into the garage. I need to do something.
Sometimes he wants to go watch mindless television, you know, and I just like, go do your thing. Like, just he needs to have
and
that time
she does
to
the
recharge.
same thing. And so, but you know what? I respect that now. And it's not like, what are you doing? Why do you need to get away from me? What am I doing that you don't want to be, you know? And we've been through that stage, all right? And so what I'm saying is there's a time that we live as me as in a marriage, and there's a time that we live as we. And on average, the good news is that only takes 9 to 14 years. 9 to 14 years.
So I think we're going to say that.
Or 15 for the really slow. And
We're
I'm a
gonna
fast learner.
Say that in every video so people know, because they think
we've been together 15 years. Okay, so that's where that came, the real slow. Get me. Moi.
It's taking us a little while. So people tend to, a lot of the couples that we talk to tend to want to break up in the first maybe 2 to 5 years because they haven't reached that sweet spot. That's the toughest time usually. Now, it can be tough for a long time if you never work this stuff out, but if you're actively working stuff out, learning about marriage, going to marriage retreats and workshops or anything your church offers, or reading books about it, listening to these videos, if you're actively learning about marriage, then you can do it a lot quicker. Maybe.
Well, you know, think about that. Think about that. When we go to, we don't just, in every aspect of our life, we're taught, we're trained, we're tested. You just don't go get to operate on somebody because you think you're going to be a good doctor. You got to go to years and years and just, you know, test and study and test and study, and you just don't get to, hey, you want to be a pilot? Well, here are the keys. Take that jet up. Good luck. Good luck, boy. You know, they just don't do that. But man, in marriage, they give you a license and hey, go. Good luck. Hope you make it. You know, sayonara, hasta la vista. Yeah. And you're off on your merry way. And you think, and you have all of these things that are, you think are going to be, oh, this is me and you, girl. We're going to do this. It's going to be great. And then when you know, you're so in love and it's so good. And man, you're just, y'all are so into each other, and neither one of you could do anything wrong because, man, you're just so in love.
We never even saw these things when we were dating each
18
other.
to 36 months. That's the tingles.
Love is blind. We didn't see any, no more. Brent says no more close-up shots, please, Richard. So don't. So after the wedding, so it's like you get all excited about the wedding. We put all this emphasis and money and time and excitement, and we put all this. What's the other word I'm looking for? You pour everything into having a wedding because we want that wedding. I love weddings. I've had 3 of them. They're awesome. And so it's my last one.
Now she's been to 3.
Now I'm like,
I'm
like, maybe we should renew our vows so I can do it. Yeah. No, I've been in like 15, but I've actually been the star of 3.
That's great.
I like weddings.
That's pretty funny.
And I like wearing white dresses.
No more weddings for you, unless we're participants. We're not being in it.
So after the wedding, then we put all this this emphasis on a wedding, and then we don't put all this same. What's the word I'm looking for? That same enthusiasm, or just you don't. I can't think of the word, but you're planning a wedding and you're doing all this stuff. But you don't do that with your actual marriage. You're doing that for a wedding. So when then we get married, and then what? It's after the wedding's over and all the presents are open and everybody goes home and real life sets in and you realize, wow, this is forever. This is real life. And if you're not know how to speak each other's love language, then they start missing the mark. Then they come to us and say, I feel like I either never really loved this person because I don't think I know what love is, or B, I think I've fallen out of love with this person, which, like I said earlier, it's called, like Misty said, it's called effort. And you have to get up every day and make a decision and a choice to love your spouse, whether they deserve it or not.
Sometimes it's hard when you're going through when you're in the valleys in marriage, and you're going to be in the valleys. That is when the enemy's going to tell you the most and talk in your ear. Shouldn't have done this. You knew you've made all the mistakes now. Forgiveness is never going to happen. Let me just, when we're talking about that, there's two things for sure that's going to happen in your marriage. It's either going to get better or it's going to get worse. And it doesn't get better magically by itself. So if we are not doing it every day, if we're not intentional every day, if we're not intentional every day to do something in our marriage that is going to uplift it and build it, then we're truly just destroying our marriage or waiting for it to fall.
Mm-hmm. So when we learn our spouse's love language and we're speaking love to them, because when I was married before, the second time I was married, when we were in divorce court and we were in the mediation room, he said, I gave you everything. I gave you all the things how is this happening? Gifts is my number 5. We didn't even know about love language. And so like, you're giving me all these things and you're buying me all this stuff, but I didn't feel loved. And I didn't know till Richard and I got married and started going to marriage classes that was not my love language. So we spent 15 years trying to love each other and we didn't even totally missing the mark. Then when Richard and I found out what our love language is, so much better when he realized that acts of service, when he helps me just do a few things, it makes me feel so much better.
When you hear 9 to 14 years to stop living as me and start to live as we, I see that. I wanted to be acts of service. I wanted to be do the things that helped her with her personality, and I knew where our personalities clashed. But I had to learn those things. It just wasn't something that came natural to me, because naturally, acts of service isn't my love language. So man, I don't care about acts of service. I don't want to do acts of service. And if you don't do acts of service, I don't care. You don't have to do acts of service to me. Quality time and physical touch, that's my love language. So I have to be intentional. And it takes time to be intentional. We have to have so much grace with each other, because that grace is what does it. Not you don't get me, you don't know me, you don't love me. That doesn't work. Because if it did, man, it would have saved us a lot of time. What works is that love and the grace and the forgiveness and the compassion and the mercy that we have for each other. When I knew that I messed up and she wouldn't point it out to me, and she would just say, well, I'm sorry that happened, and let's pray about that, and I want to be there for you. Man, that tore me up inside more than her saying anything. That's when God was convicting me, But anyways, we don't want to get off of that because we're talking about love languages.
Yeah, I'm like, man, good old deep. I should have known what Richard's was physical touch, because our second date, I think we went dancing. It was our first or second date. We went dancing, and he loves PDA. All right, back then he landed a lot of personal. What is it? Personal. What's PDA? Personal. Where you just want to like
displays of affection.
Displays of affection. I am not PDA like not in public. And so he was just like,
I was on her, all over her like a cheap suit.
okay, it was so Mr. Grabby Hands. Yes, Misty, that's what he was. And so then I was traumatized because it was in public. And I just couldn't stand it. And so, I don't know.
And to see her face.
So, there we go.
Oh, baby,
Yeah.
you're so traumatized.
I was traumatized. All right, so quality time is the last one that we were talking about. So talk to your spouse. What does quality time look like? What does that mean to them? For us, we love our quality time. When we wake up in the morning, we set our alarm at 5:15. I am not a morning person. If y'all know me, But I do it because I love my husband, and we quality time, and because we have very busy life, very busy schedules.
Not busy, fruitful.
Fruitful. We have very fruitful lives, productive lives. So we have a lot going on because we have our hand in a lot of pies, I guess. So we have to make time, and we have to cut out that quality time. We try to do it sometimes in the evening, having quality time, but a lot of times we're tired and it's not quality. It's like we're hanging out, but it's really not quality time. But in the morning, when we wake up at 5:15, that muscle's pretty strong now. So it used to be really hard to do it, but now we wake up, we don't actually get out of bed till probably 6:30, but we wake up, we just lay there and we just talk. We talk and we pray and we just talk some more and we pray some more. And sometimes we pray for 5 minutes, sometimes we pray for an hour. Sometimes we talk for 5 minutes, sometimes we talk for an hour. But that time is the best connection, which is so nice to start our day. And then later that evening, we're not trying to get some quality time so we feel connected. So later, like that, where it's on. But if we've already had that quality time in the morning, it's all throughout the whole day. We're already started out connected.
And we started out good.
Yeah.
And so I want to nurture it all day long.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that, all
Use
of her
some
needs.
physical touch. That's what he wants.
Oh man, now you just threw me all off because when you say physical touch like that, my mind just goes somewhere.
Sorry, I know. All right, so that's it.
That's
so
it.
guys, I don't know. Find out what your love language is. Go to Dr. Gary Chapman online. You can take a love language quiz.
Yeah, don't go to his house. You're like, they told us to go to your house. We're here, Dr. Gary Chapman.
We actually did a retreat, or not a retreat. We did the Spark conference about a month ago, and Dr. Gary Chapman was one of the speakers. And I told him, in front of 8,000 people, I said, dude, I think you need to change it to chore play, because if Richard does those acts of service, it is chore play at our house. For
so
real.
Ladies, get a thumbs up for chore play. All right.
So we have gifts as a number one. One of them is gifts. There's acts of service. I'm looking up like I'm gonna look up in the air like it's just
Quality time.
Yeah, quality time. Physical touch, and words of affirmation. And so if you guys can share this, follow us on
Instagram
too.
Facebook.
So if y'all have an Instagram page, so we're the Brights, and the Real Brights is our website, is therealbrights.com. And what else?
And so
I'm gonna count how many times I said and so. So we love y'all. Keep questions coming to us and things that you wanted us to talk about, because we're gonna do this. We are being consistent. And
we promise you we're going to get to it. I promise you we're going to get to it. Thank you all so much. We love you guys.
Have a
and we're
great
praying
Sunday.
for each and every one of you.
Time to go put our jammies on.
Amen to that.
Bye.
Physical touch.
Physical touch.